Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. Just going to have a quick look at the temperatures for this week. We've got some quite warm weather coming up in the middle of the week, and then we're going to see a huge drop in temperature as we get through to the end of the week. Really quite interesting conditions. So this would be pressure chart, but we're going to have for Wednesday the 24th of April, and we're going to have an area of high pressure really over the country. It's quite slack this, it's breaking up actually on Wednesday with one area of the high pressure going out into the Atlantic, and another area is drifting away to the east. So at this point on Wednesday, whilst we're still under a ridge of high pressure, the ridge is actually breaking apart, and that's going to allow eventually later in the week this area of low pressure to the north with some very cold air underneath it to plunge southwards down across the country and set up a trough of low pressure over the British Isles. But these are the temperatures for Wednesday, really warm across much of England and Wales, temperatures at least up to 20 degrees in some places at 68 Fahrenheit. It would be at all surprised if we could add a degree or two onto that, so maybe up to 21, 22 perhaps in some parts of southeastern England. That's 70 to 72 Fahrenheit. It will be a proper summery feel if you get the sunshine coming through, and that is the one fly in the ointment through the middle of the week. There will be a lot of cloud floating around, so it won't necessarily be wall-to-wall sunshine, but if you get decent sunny spells, the potential is there some really quite warm weather through the middle of the week and quite a summery feel. But notice how much colder it is over central and northern parts of Scotland, with temperatures down into single figures in those green colours, and that really is the trend as we go through into the latter stage of the week. So as we move into Thursday, we're taking that high pressure out into the Atlantic and begin to set up a real ridge of high pressure there in the Atlantic, begin to move it up towards Greenland as well, and the low pressure is starting to move down into the country. So we've got one little low pressure forming over northern England, and the main one still to the north of Scotland. That'll be taking some quite heavy rain down across the country, and the dividing line between that heavy rain is in terms of temperature. So still for England and Wales on Thursday, it's quite warm, very warm actually, with temperatures again up to 20 degrees. Again, if you get decent sunshine, you may be able to add a degree or two on from that. But look how much colder it is for Scotland. Cold air coming down into northern England and Northern Ireland as well. We're down into single figures there, and the dividing line is somewhere around northern England, and that has the potential for some really wet weather actually on Thursday. There's going to be a lot of energy in that dividing line between the warm and the cold air, and yes, that will provide the potential for some very wet weather. Now as we go through to Friday, the northerly wind has plunged down across the country. By that time we're setting up this trough around the high pressure to the west of the country in the Atlantic. A trough is beginning to form around the British Isles, and as I say, we're in that much colder run of northerly winds by then. So look how much colder the temperatures are across England and Wales. On Thursday it's indicated that we're up to 20 degrees, maybe 21, 22. By Friday we've dropped at least 15 degrees from that, and maybe a little bit more. We're down into single figures, temperatures of 6, 7, 8 degrees quite widely. Some places, particularly in the south and west, still up into double figures, but it's certainly a much colder feel by the time we get through to Friday, with a big drop in the temperatures. As I say, the dividing line is going to provide some heavy rain. This is precipitation forecast for Thursday. Really wet there across much of central southern Scotland, down into northern England, Northern Ireland, North Wales as well. That's going to be persistent, I think, that rain. It could last for much of the day on Thursday across northern parts of England, Ireland and southwestern Scotland. There will be quite probably the potential for some flooding with that. By the time we get through to Friday, where the cold front has cleared the country, and what we're looking at here is heavy showers across the country. Those showers could well have hail and thunder mixed in. They could merge to give longer spells of rain, and certainly for Scotland it will be cold enough for some sleet or snow to turn up over the Scottish mountains. Maybe a little bit of snow over the tops of the Pennines and the Welsh mountains, the hills and mountains of Northern Ireland as well. Further south it will be more rain, and we're looking at hail and thunder down there, but a really cold day, I think, on Friday. That's going to be the main thing for England and Wales. You will notice that big drop in temperature. Now, as we go up beyond this, we're looking at the 8 to 10 day 500 millibar height anomalies here. Got the ECMWF on the left, the GFS is on the right. This indicating the pressure set up really in the atmosphere actually it's temperature in the atmosphere, where we've got the blue colours, that's indicating below average temperatures at 18,000 feet, the orange and red colours indicating above average temperatures at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet, and that extrapolates to low pressure with the blue and high pressure with the red and the orange. And for 8 to 10 days time, which is taking us into the start of May, we're under this trough of low pressure here on the ECMWF 500 millibar height means. Yes, we've got blue colours over the country. The lines are digging around that area of blue. That's indicating a trough of low pressure with the jet stream running to the south of it. That's cool and unsettled. And for the GFS, very similar. The trough is there over the country. We've got blue colours there with below average heights. So we've got the lines running around that area below average heights. Again, it's a trough of low pressure with the jet stream to the south. So we're under a trough on the cool side of the jet. You can imagine it's not going to be a very pleasant start to May. And of course I did a video about this the other day, looking at Beijing Climate Centre long-range month ahead forecast, and yes, that was indicating an unsettled start to May. This is really just backing up that idea of an unsettled and cool start to May is still on course. So this is the GFS chart for Saturday, bringing down this northerly wind across the country. As we move beyond this, well, another area of low pressure runs to the north of Scotland, but then as we go further out, we're going to find that trough of low pressure forming around the country, keeping it unsettled into next week, and eventually we end up, say, under this trough of low pressure. High pressure is out in the Atlantic. The jet stream, the black line here, indicates that we're on the cool side of the jet. We've got a trough of low pressure over the country. It will be cool and showery, I'm afraid, to start May. Having a look at the ECMWF, it's a very similar idea. Over the weekend, we've got this next area of low pressure coming to the north of Scotland. That will lift temperatures a little bit, I think, over the weekend, because the winds are going back into the west, actually. So next weekend, probably seeing the temperature staging a recovery from that big drop in temperature that we get on Friday. But as we go beyond that, we're going to go back to the north with the winds into the start of next week. There we go for Tuesday the 30th. We've got a trough of low pressure actually sitting just off the eastern coast of Scotland, but we're really under a trough of low pressure. The northerly winds are coming down across the country. The black line of jet stream is to the south, so it will be cool. We're on the cool side of the jet, under a trough of low pressure. It'll be pretty miserable conditions. And as we go out to the 2nd of May, Thursday the 2nd, that northerly flows really maintain around that trough of low pressure. The heights for high pressure all out in the Atlantic, and the GEM, the Canadian model, gives us a very similar sort of idea. As we go into the start of next week, we've got the low pressure to the north of Scotland, and winds will eventually, with that background to the north, bring down that cool air. We're on the cool side of the jet, and we eventually end up with this low pressure sitting to the west about that, but in any case that's very unsettled sort of conditions. So it does look as though we're going to see some pretty warm weather coming up for a few days this week. Certainly Wednesday, and still for the south, Thursday, looking very nice. Tomorrow as well could be, might be not be too bad. But as we go through the week, we're going to find cold air coming into Scotland on an active weather system, giving some very wet weather in the north on Thursday. That will plunge southwards later Thursday, and by Friday we're all going to be in a much colder run of northerly winds. We could drop the temperatures by 15 degrees from Thursday to Friday in the south. And then as we go through into weekend, a little bit of a recovery being staged with those temperatures, but really it's looking cool and unsettled as we go out into the start of May. Not perhaps a deluge of rain for the start of May, but certainly unsettled showers, long spells of rain, risk of hail and thunder. Could be wintry conditions over the higher ground of Scotland as well, and the big thing is that drop in temperature from Thursday into Friday. So a lot going on this week and into next week. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.